Listen closely, because I'm about to tell you something you can't afford to ignore. This isn't just another pep talk, another feel-good moment. This is the turning point of your life. This is the moment where you stop being the victim of someone else's story and start becoming the author of your own. I know you've felt it, that weight, those lies they told you, the whispers that echoed in your ears, telling you that you weren't enough, that you weren't strong enough, that you'd never make it. You've carried those lies like chains, dragging them behind you everywhere you went, and they've made you believe something about yourself that isn't true. But here's the truth. Those lies, they didn't break you, they built you. You've been living under the weight of their words, but what you didn't realize is that every single one of their lies has been shaping you, molding you into something they never saw coming. And if I thought that was the secret capital of Vampiric Wayway, I'm about to confront myself. If I thought I wanted to live with you, we can keep that a secret anymore. They told you that you were small. They told you that you didn't have what it takes. They told you that your dreams were too big, too unrealistic, that you'd never reach them. They told you that your pain defined you, that your failures were the sum of who you were, that you'd never get back up again. But you're still standing, aren't you? Still breathing, still fighting. It's time to stop letting their words dictate your worth. It's time to reclaim your power. Because what they didn't know, what they couldn't see, is that their lies were only feeding the fire inside you. So look at me, right now, and listen. The story you've been telling yourself, it's been written by their voices. The voices of doubt, of fear, of judgment. But what if I told you that the greatest story you'll ever tell hasn't even begun yet? What if the person they tried to destroy, the one they laughed at, the one they mocked, is the very person the world is about to meet? You're not broken. You're not a shadow of what you could have been. You are becoming the legend they never saw coming. You are becoming the person they never wanted you to be. Because they knew deep down the moment you realized your worth, their grip over you would be gone. And that's exactly what's happening right now. You might not see it yet. You might not feel it in your bones yet, but I want you to know this. Everything you've been through, every hardship, every tear, every setback has been preparing you for this moment, for the moment when you realize that you are far stronger than they ever imagined. They thought they could break you. They thought their lies would crush you. But those lies, those words, they didn't destroy you. They built you. Each lie, each insult, each moment of doubt, they carved away the parts of you that didn't belong. And what you're left with now, that's the truth. That's the person you are becoming. And trust me, the world hasn't seen anything like you before. You are the storm that will change everything. You are the force they never counted on. Now you might be thinking, but I'm tired. I'm worn out from fighting. I don't have it in me anymore. I hear you. I get it. I see you. And I know the pain that weighs on your heart. But let me tell you something. The battle isn't over. It's never been over. You've been in the ring longer than you realize. And every punch that's been thrown at you, it's only made you stronger. It's time to stop looking at the scars and start seeing them for what they are. Proof of your survival. You didn't just survive the storm, you learned to dance in the rain. And now, it's time for you to rise. Time for you to walk forward, head high, with the understanding that every single lie they told you was just another step in your ascension. So right now, in this moment, I need you to take a breath. Close your eyes if you have to, and hear me when I say this. Those lies, those people who tried to tear you down, they don't get to define who you are anymore. Not anymore. It's your turn now. Your time to rise. Your time to become the legend you were always meant to be. They built this version of you with their lies, and now you're going to use those same lies as the fuel to soar higher than they ever thought possible. Do you understand what I'm saying? They thought they could bury you. But you're the one who's about to make history. You're the one who's about to show the world who you really are. And trust me, the world will be speechless when you're done. You've felt it, haven't you? The weight, the constant pressure pressing against your chest, dragging you down, making it hard to breathe. It's not physical, but it's just as real. This suffocating feeling that wraps itself around your mind and refuses to let go. You walk through your day with a heaviness in your soul, haunted by the voices that tell you you're not enough, not good enough, not worthy enough. You wake up at night full of anxiety because your past runs through your mind like you've somehow failed at something important. Every step you take feels like you're walking on a tightrope, one mistake away from falling, and yet you're still standing, aren't you? But standing doesn't mean you're truly free. You're just holding on, day after day, carrying a burden you weren't meant to bear. Those lies, they started small, didn't they? Subtle whispers at first, just a murmur in the back of your mind. But then they grew louder, more insistent. Maybe it was your parents, maybe it was friends, maybe it was the world around you that told you your dreams were too big, your goals too far out of reach. Maybe it was the voice of a teacher, a coach, a mentor who looked at you with disappointment and said, "You're not cut out for this." Maybe it was a lover, once so close, who told you that you'd never find success, never find happiness, never find your place in this world. Or maybe it was the world itself, the judgments that come from strangers, from society, from the faceless masses who don't know you but feel entitled to tell you who you are and what you can or can't do. Each word, each judgment, each accusation, the voices that planted seeds of doubt in your mind. And somewhere along the way, you started believing them. You started thinking they might be right. You've lived with that belief for too long. The belief that you're not good enough, that you're broken, that you'll never get it right. The belief that you don't have what it takes to succeed, to rise, to become something more than what the world has told you. You've held these lies close to your chest like they were truths, wrapping them around you like a blanket. Because in a way, it's easier to believe them. It's easier to accept that you're not enough than to face the terror of what it would mean if you actually tried and failed. It's easier to stay in the shadows than to step into the light and risk everything. But these lies, they have taken root in your heart and they're poisoning your spirit. The pain they've caused you isn't just emotional, it's deep, almost physical. It's the exhaustion that comes from trying to measure up to an impossible standard. It's the feeling of standing in a room full of people and still feeling invisible. It's the loneliness that wraps itself around your soul even when you're surrounded by others. It's the sting of rejection, the weight of failure, the crushing belief that no matter what you do, it will never be enough. They've made you doubt yourself, doubt your worth, doubt your very ability to succeed. And somewhere along the way, you've lost sight of the person you were always meant to be. But let's talk about that pain, the pain of rejection, the sting of being told that you are not wanted, not good enough, not enough to be seen. The moments when you gave everything and it still wasn't enough. When you tried and failed and tried again only to face more disappointment. Those failures, they sit with you like a stone in your stomach, weighing you down, reminding you of every time you fell short. And it's easy to look at those failures and let them define you, isn't it? It's easy to think that because you've stumbled, you're destined to stay on the ground forever. And yet, here you are, still standing, aren't you? But maybe you're not standing tall. Maybe you're hunched over, protecting yourself, trying to shield yourself from more hurt, from more pain. And I get it. I know how it feels to be beaten down, to feel like you're carrying a weight that no one can understand. I know how it feels to look at the person in the mirror and wonder if they'll ever make it, to wonder if you're just going through the motions, but never really living. You look at your dreams, and they feel so far away, like they belong to someone else, not to you. You wonder if you'll ever be good enough, if you'll ever truly belong. And the fear, that voice that keeps whispering in your ear, that voice that tells you that you'll never make it, that it's too late for you, that's the worst of it, isn't it? The fear that if you take one more step, you'll fall flat on your face. The fear that if you try again, you'll just get hurt. That voice that tells you to stay small, stay safe, stay hidden. It's the fear of failure, yes, but it's also the fear of success. Because if you succeed, you'll have to face everything that's been holding you back. You'll have to confront the lies, the doubts, the limitations that have been holding you captive. I see you, I see the struggle, I see the frustration, I see the anger bubbling inside you, the bitterness of being told that you can't, that you won't, that you're not enough. But you're still here, aren't you? And I need you to understand something. The world may have told you that you're small. It may have told you that your dreams were too big. But all that means is that you are standing on the edge of something great. You are on the verge of something powerful. Because the pain you've carried, those lies, those judgments, those fears, they don't have the final say. Not anymore. But right now, right here, I need you to confront those lies. I need you to face them head on because this is where it all changes. You've been carrying that weight for far too long. And if you don't start shedding it now, you'll be stuck under it forever. And I know you don't want that. You don't want to stay in the shadows. You don't want to keep pretending that everything's fine when you're drowning inside. You don't want to keep believing the lies. You don't want to stay silent. You don't want to live under their expectations. You don't want to be defined by their limitations. The lies have held you back long enough. But this is your moment. This is where the pain turns into power. You've reached a place now, haven't you? A place where every step forward feels like a struggle, like your feet are stuck in cement. You can't move, you can't breathe. It's as if the weight of everything, of all the expectations, all the lies, all the failures, has crushed you down to the ground. Then, and you're not sure how much more you can take. Each day feels like you're just dragging yourself through life, existing but not really living. Every moment, every breath feels like it's pulling you deeper into a void, a pit that you can't escape. And you're starting to wonder if there's any way out. Is there any point in trying anymore? Is there a reason to keep fighting when the world seems to be against you? When the weight of everything you've been through is enough to break anyone? You've been hopeless for a long time. You've tried, haven't you? You've tried to keep moving forward, to rise above the noise, to be something more than the broken version of yourself that the world wants to see. But each time you try, it feels like you're met with resistance, like you're fighting against a force that's stronger than you. Every setback, every failure is another nail in the coffin, another reminder that you'll never make it. You're starting to believe it. You're starting to wonder if maybe they were right all along. Maybe you're just not cut out for success. Maybe you're destined to live in the shadow of your own pain forever. The isolation you feel is unbearable. You look around, but it seems like everyone else has it all figured out. Everyone else is moving forward, building their dreams, living their best life, while you're stuck in place, paralyzed by your fear and your doubt. You don't even know who you are anymore. You don't know what you're supposed to be. You're so lost in your own head that you can't even remember what it feels like to be truly alive. Every attempt to find joy feels like it's met with failure. Every ounce of hope feels fleeting, disappearing before you can even grasp it. And in the silence, in the emptiness of your own thoughts, the loneliness feels deafening. But I want you to feel that. I want you to sit with that pain for a moment. I know it hurts. I know you're tired. I know you're exhausted. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. I know what it feels like to be on the verge of giving up, to think that maybe the world is better off without your struggles. I've seen it. I've felt it. And I know that you've been carrying this burden for far too long. The endless doubts, the fears that gnaw at your mind, the constant weight of disappointment and despair, these are real. They are valid, and you're not weak for feeling them. You're human, and so you're allowed to feel like this. But what I need you to understand is that this moment, this place of deep despair, does not have to be where your story ends. If you stay here, if you let this despair swallow you whole, it will take everything from you. It will steal your future, your potential, and your peace of mind. Because if you don't rise above it, if you don't find the strength to push through, you'll be stuck here forever. The lies they told you will become your reality. You'll become a prisoner of your own mind, trapped in a cycle of pain that never ends. You'll keep thinking that maybe, just maybe, if you try a little harder, work a little longer, you'll be good enough. But deep down, you'll know it's never enough. You'll never be able to escape the prison of your own thoughts, never able to break free from the belief that you're too broken to succeed. And what does that mean for you? It means that you'll never experience the life you were meant to have. The life that's waiting for you just beyond the pain. The life where you rise, where you break free from these chains and become the person you were always meant to be. But if you stay stuck in this moment, if you let the despair swallow you, you'll never see that life. You'll never experience the joy, the triumph, the satisfaction of overcoming what tried to defeat you. The pain will become permanent, a constant companion, until one day you look back and realize you've spent your whole life trapped in a cage of your own making. But here's what I want you to know, right here, right now. That doesn't have to be your future. You don't have to let the despair be your defining moment. You don't have to let the lies hold you captive forever. Your pain is real, but it is not your prison. I know you've felt the sting of failure, the burn of rejection, the ache of dreams that never came true. And I know that it feels like you're alone in that pain, like no one else understands. But hear me when I say this. You are not alone. Your struggle is not invisible. I see you. I see the fight in your eyes, the fire that still burns beneath the surface, even when it feels like it's barely there. I see the strength in your bones, even when you can't feel it yourself. Right now, you're in the valley, and it's dark, and it's lonely, and it feels like you're stuck here forever. But let me tell you something. The valley isn't where your story ends. This is just the moment before the breakthrough. This is the place where the real work begins. I know it hurts. I know you're tired. But the pain you feel right now, it's not the end of your journey. It's the beginning of the transformation that's going to take you higher than you've ever been before. And I need you to hold on to that truth. Because this is the moment where everything changes. This is where you decide whether or not you'll stay trapped in the lies, or whether you'll rise from this, stronger and more powerful than ever before. So feel the depth of this despair. Feel the weight of it. Let it burn, let it sting, let it make you question everything. But don't stay there. Don't let it win. Because you are so much more than the pain you're feeling right now. You are so much more than the lies they've told you. And this is not the end. It's only the beginning. You've been through hell. You've felt the burn, the sting, the weight of everything that's been thrown at you. You've bled, you've broken, you've hit rock bottom, and it felt like you would never rise again. But I'm here to tell you something that you might not believe just yet. Everything you've been through, it wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to shape you. Every tear, every failure, every rejection, every lie, they've all been forging you into something unbreakable. The pain wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning of your transformation. Think about it for a moment. Steel isn't forged in ease. It isn't made by sitting comfortably in the sun, basking in glory. No, steel is forged in fire. It's pounded, beaten, and hardened by extreme heat until it becomes something solid, something unyielding. And that's what your pain has been doing to you, shaping you into something far stronger than you ever knew you could be. You weren't broken, you were being formed. Every challenge you've faced, every obstacle, every moment where you felt like you were crumbling under the weight, those were the fires. And now you're starting to realize it, aren't you? You're not weak, you're not broken, you're stronger than ever before. And the world hasn't seen what you're capable of yet. But here's the key. You have to recognize that strength within you. You have to stop seeing yourself as a victim of the things that happened to you and start seeing yourself as the hero of your own story. You've endured the pain, the lies, the suffering, and you're still here. You're still standing. Do you understand the magnitude of that? While the world thought it could break you, it was actually strengthening you. Your resilience has been building with every battle. You have been tempered, hardened, and made ready for something bigger than you ever imagined. Look back for a moment. Think about where you were a year ago, 2 years ago. Remember the person you were then. What were your fears? What did you think you couldn't do? What did you believe was impossible? And look at you now. You're still here. You're still fighting. And in every battle, in every moment of despair, you've learned something new about yourself. You've learned that your spirit is unbreakable, that your will is indomitable, and that nothing can hold you down forever. You've grown stronger with every trial, wiser with every failure. Every scar you carry is a mark of your survival, not your defeat. Now, I want you to look inward. Really look at yourself. Look at everything you've survived. The lies that tried to keep you small. The pain that tried to drown you. The failures that tried to convince you that you were nothing. Look at what you've been through and ask yourself, how did I survive this? Because that's the real question, isn't it? You didn't just survive. You learned. You learned resilience. You learned to get back up, again and again, no matter how many times you fell. You learned that your strength wasn't in avoiding pain. It was in facing it head on, with courage. You learned that your power isn't in perfection. It's in your ability to rise, even when the odds are stacked against you. Now it's time to rebuild your story. No more defining yourself by your pain. No more holding on to the lies that others told you. It's time to take back the pen and rewrite your narrative. The story you've been telling yourself about who you are, it's been incomplete. It's been one of struggle, yes, but it's also a story of transformation, of rising, of conquering. The next chapter isn't about defeat. It's about you stepping into the full power of who you've always been meant to be. Start by shifting your perspective. Stop looking at your failures as evidence that you can't. They are evidence that you can. You didn't just survive failure, you grew from it. You didn't just endure pain, you overcame it. Every time you thought you couldn't go on, and you did anyway, you were rewriting your story. Every time you looked at the darkness and chose to walk toward the light, you were shaping your future. Now, it's time to take control. This isn't just about surviving. This is about thriving. This is about realizing that the struggles you've faced haven't been the roadblocks. You've been building the road, and now you're standing on it, ready to walk forward into your future. Think of the phoenix. It rises from the ashes of its own destruction, reborn, stronger, fiercer than ever before. That's you. Every lie, every judgment, every hardship, those were the ashes. And now you're rising. You're not a victim of the fire, you're the one who's been transformed by it. You are no longer who they told you you were. You are no longer the person defined by their lies. You are the person who has stood tall through every storm, who has weathered every battle, and who is now ready to claim their place in the world. So, what are you gonna do with that? What are you gonna do with all the strength that's inside you? You've been forged in fire, but you've also been shaped by your own decisions. You've chosen to rise, and now it's time to take that choice and make it your reality. Your pain isn't a sentence, it's your transformation. It's the crucible in which your strength was forged, and now you get to decide what comes next. You are not defined by what you've been through. You are defined by how you rise from it. And the legend that you are becoming, it's just getting started. For so long, you've been walking through life with the weight of their lies on your shoulders, believing that the struggle was yours to bear alone, that you were destined to live in the shadow of those who tried to break you. But I'm here to tell you something that will change everything. Everything you've been through, everything you've suffered, wasn't meant to defeat you. It was meant to make you stronger. And it was meant to carve out the warrior within you. All the doubts, all the struggles, all the moments where you thought you couldn't go on, they weren't the end. They were the preparation for your greatness. You see it now, don't you? You've spent so long looking at your pain as the enemy, as the thing that was going to destroy you, but it was never the enemy. Your pain was never meant to be your end. The hurt, the pain that creeps in on you, the thing you feel around the corner. It was meant to be your foundation. They told you that you weren't strong enough, that you weren't good enough, that you would never rise above the noise. They told you that your dreams were too big, your ambitions too far out of reach, and they thought they could bury you beneath their judgments and limitations. But here you are, still standing, still fighting, still breathing, and now you see it. Everything they told you, every lie they planted in your mind, was just part of the plan. You weren't meant to be weak. You weren't meant to stay stuck in their version of you. They were never trying to break you. They were preparing you. Everything they said to diminish you, to make you feel small, it was just pushing you towards it was all pushing you toward the moment when you'd realize who you truly are. That moment is now. You are no longer the person they tried to make you believe you were. You are not the victim. You are the warrior. Let that sink in. You are not the victim of your circumstances. You are the victor of your journey. Every battle you fought, every lie you overcame, every tear you shed, it was all a stepping stone toward your awakening. And now, the warrior within you is rising. It's time to stop seeing yourself as someone who is merely surviving. It's time to start seeing yourself as someone who is thriving, someone who is no longer defined by the past, but who is about to change the course of the future. Do you feel it now? The shift inside you? It's not just your body, it's your soul. It's that fire that's burning brighter than ever before, the fire that was lit by the very struggles that tried to consume you. The lies they told you, they were the fuel for your fire. The doubts they planted in your mind, they were the wind that stoked your flame. You are the product of your pain, but more importantly, you are the product of your resilience. You are the strength that came from surviving what should have destroyed you. You are not the victim anymore. You are the warrior. And now, nothing and no one can stop you. So ask yourself, what will you do with this power? What will you do with the strength that is now rising within you? Are you going to stay down, beaten by the lies they told you, or are you going to rise? This is the moment where everything changes. This is the turning point where you stop seeing yourself as weak, as broken, as someone who is defined by their failures and their pain. No more. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are the culmination of every battle you've fought, every tear you've shed, every time you've gotten back up, even when you didn't think you could. That is who you are. The people who tried to hold you down, they were simply part of the process. They thought they were keeping you small. They thought they were suffocating your dreams, but they were wrong. What they didn't realize is that they were just making space for you to rise. They were just helping to create the version of you that was going to stand taller than ever before. And now that version is waking up. Are you going to stay down, or are you going to rise? Let those words echo in your mind, because this is the moment when everything you've been through becomes the reason why you will soar. This is the moment where you leave the lies behind and step into your truth. You've been forged in fire, and now you are ready to burn brighter than ever before. You are the warrior, you are the legend, and nothing can take that away from you. So, what will it be? Will you stay down, or will you rise? Because your rise begins now. You've come too far, fought too hard, and bled too much for this moment to slip through your fingers. The time for hesitation is over. The time for waiting for someone else to give you permission to rise is over. This is your moment. You've spent so long carrying the weight of other people's opinions, their lies, their doubts, but now it's time to take that weight off your shoulders and use it as the foundation for something far greater. It's time for you to take ownership of your destiny. You've been given everything you need to rise above the noise, above the pain, and above the limitations others have tried to place on you. The choice is yours. Will you rise? Here's what I need you to understand. Your past does not define you. Your failures do not define you. Your pain does not define you. You are not the sum of your mistakes. You are the sum of every lesson you've learned, every battle you've fought, and every time you've gotten back up when the world tried to knock you down. You are not here by accident. You are here because you have survived, because you have endured, because you are stronger than anything that has ever tried to break you. But now, it's time to take all that pain, all that struggle, and turn it into your power. Every tear you shed, every rejection, every time you thought you couldn't keep going, those were the moments that shaped you. Those were the moments that forged your strength, that prepared you for what lies ahead. Now it's time to use that strength. Now it's time to use your power. You've carried the weight of doubt and fear long enough. You've allowed others to control your narrative, to tell you who you are and what you're capable of. No more. This is where you rewrite the story. This is where you take control of your future and decide who you will be. The lies they told you about your worth, about your potential, are over. You get to decide what happens next. So I'm challenging you, right here and right now. Take ownership of your life. No one else is going to do it for you. No one else is going to give you permission to succeed. You have to take it. You have to rise above the noise, above the negativity, and step into the person you were always meant to be. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be comfortable. but you are ready for this. You've already proven that you can survive the worst of it. Now you get to thrive. Your pain is not a punishment, it is your power. Every setback, every scar, every moment of doubt has equipped you with the strength to move forward. You are stronger because of it. You are more powerful because of it. The person you are today is not the person you were yesterday. And tomorrow you will be even stronger, even more unstoppable. That's how this works. You don't just survive your pain, you let it propel you forward. So here's your roadmap. It starts with you. Take action. Stop waiting for permission. Stop waiting for the stars to align. You already have everything you need inside you. It starts with one step, one decision to rise above your circumstances, to rise above your doubts, to rise above what others have told you about your potential. Every single day, you get to make that decision. You get to choose your future. And when you take that first step, it won't be easy. The fear will still be there. The doubts will still be there. But you know what? That's okay, because you're not going to let them control you anymore. Every time that fear rises up, every time that doubt whispers in your ear, you're going to remember this moment. You're going to remember that you've already survived the worst, and now you're ready to thrive. You're going to remember that you are stronger than you've ever believed, and nothing is going to stop you. When you start moving, when you start taking action, the world will take notice. The world will try to throw obstacles in your way, but guess what? You've already faced the worst it can throw at you. You've already overcome the hardest battles. You are unstoppable now. Your rise is inevitable. Now, I'm leaving you with this final truth. You were never meant to be small. You were never meant to be defeated. You were meant for greatness. The struggles you've faced, the battles you've fought, the scars you've earned, they're all part of your story, and they have all been preparing you for this moment. You are not the sum of your pain. You are the strength that has emerged from it. You are the warrior, the survivor, the legend in the making. So stand tall. Walk forward with your head held high. The world has never seen someone like you, and it never will again. You are ready. You are capable. You are unstoppable. Go show the world who you really are. And remember, your rise starts now. This is your time. Go take it. Look at you now. You've come further than you ever thought possible. If you could have seen yourself just a short time ago, before you began this journey, you would never have imagined the transformation you'd undergo. You've faced pain that should have broken you, obstacles that should have stopped you in your tracks. Yet here you are, standing tall, stronger than ever, and more aware of your power than you've ever been. Every step you've taken, every decision to rise, has brought you to this moment. And in that process, you've realized something profound. Your pain is not a curse, it's the fuel for your greatness. The battles you've fought weren't meant to defeat you. They were meant to prepare you for everything that's coming next. You've become someone who no longer shies away from the fight. You've learned to face adversity with courage, to use the very things that tried to hold you back as the foundation for your strength. This journey hasn't been easy. It wasn't meant to be. Transformation rarely is. But now, you stand at the precipice of something powerful, something world-changing. You are no longer the person who hesitated, who doubted their worth. You are the person who rises. You are the person who chooses to live, to fight, to thrive. And that version of you, that's the one the world is about to see. This is just the beginning. You've stepped into your power, and now it's time to walk forward. You've learned to rewrite your story, to embrace every scar and every setback as a reminder of your resilience. The lies others told you no longer have power over you. You've reclaimed your narrative. The future you once feared is now the one you are ready to conquer. But this isn't just about you. It never was. What you've learned, what you've discovered about yourself. It's not meant to stay within you. This legend you're building, this unstoppable force you're becoming, it's bigger than you. It's the ripple effect that will touch everyone around you, inspiring them to rise, to change, to break free from their own limitations. As you step into your power, you'll be leading others out of the darkness and into the light. You won't just be a beacon for yourself, you'll be a light for those who are still lost in the shadows, for those who need to see someone rise to remind them that they too can. And that's the true power of your journey. It's not just about overcoming the obstacles in front of you, it's about inspiring others to do the same. Your story will echo in the hearts of others, and they will find the courage to rise because you did. You won't be alone in this. Your strength will empower them. Your courage will push them forward. Your resilience will give them hope. And together you will create a wave of change that cannot be stopped. So as you stand here, ready to face the future, know this: you are not alone. You have never been alone, and the legend you're building isn't just yours. It's a story that will inspire, a story that will ripple outward and spark transformation in those around you. Your future is in your hands now. The world doesn't stand a chance against the force you are becoming. This is your time, the time to rise, to lead, to change the world. The legend you are now is unstoppable.